And now it's time for Purple Conversations. Hi, guys. Welcome to another episode of Purple Conversations. How are you? No, how are you? How is your heart? How is your mind? How is your emotions? How are your emotions? Are you regulated? Are you discombobulated? Are you just struggling to survive? Whichever way it is, let's take a minute and take a deep breath. 1, 2, 3. Feels so much better, right? I know I do. Today, I want to talk about most persons talk about surviving the narcissist. I want to talk about surviving the chameleon. Very different. They're cousins. They're close cousins. Because whereas the narcissist knows himself, knows him or herself, because women can be narcissists too. Let's just get it clear. Where the narcissist knows exactly who they are, and they use that to manipulate, twist and turn, and bait you in, and then start psychologically breaking you down. The chameleon studies you. They study you, morph into who they think you need them to be, and then do the same thing for any environment they're in. So it's destabilizing as heck. Because the version of them that they introduce you to may not be the version of them, will not be the version of them that show up in a different scenario, in a different room of people, because they have no personal identity. Just like the chameleon goes in and blends in to whatever environment they find themselves, this is what this person does. This is what the spirit does that is attached to this person, right? So they study you. They stay from afar, observe you, investigate about you, do their research, and find out all the things, and then they become that thing. So that you get, obviously, if they're studying you, then they're going to become the thing that you're attracted to. And they're going to become the person that you are attracted to. Then they're going to become the thing that you, the object of your affection. And they're going to embed themselves into your life. But then, honey, the inconsistency comes in because they do not know who they are. So they can't sustain the facade because it's not who they are. They don't know their true identity. So they keep morphing into whatever version of themselves they need for that specific time to achieve whatever goal they're trying to achieve. But after that's done, they now have to seek for another identity to latch on to because they have none for themselves. But you've already fallen in love with the version of themselves that they presented to be. You've already attached, and the excuses are exponential. The excuses are usually legitimate, valid, situational things that they use to excuse away the inconsistency. Then they just disappear. When it gets too real, when they have to now be held to the standard that they showed up as, they can't. The inconsistency comes because that's not really it really wasn't who they were. They pretended to be that. They morphed into that for the purposes of achieving whatever the goal was at the time. And then, but to sustain that, they can't. So the roller coaster, the emotional roller coaster that you end up going on with somebody like that, oh baby, you have to be strong in yourself because they will give you whiplash. Because this minute they're this person, and then the person that you, when they realize that they're losing grip on you, they become that person again, and then you think that, okay, it was just situational. So now that that situation is gone, the person that I fell in love with has shown back up. But again, because it's not their true identity, it doesn't stay, it's inconsistent. Whereas the narcissist knows exactly who they are, and they use the different tactics. This, the chameleon spirit, genuinely is, they are scared because they're afraid that they're gonna get found out. They are scared because they're constantly living with the realization in their head that at some point they're gonna realize I'm a fraud. At some point they're gonna realize that this isn't even me for real. So their fear of that causes them to be erratic and chaotic, and here this minute, gone the next minute, consistent this minute, inconsistent the next minute, because they keep trying to, and they have to try to keep the identities straight, because in every room they show up, they become somebody else. In every room they show up, they've shown a different version of themselves to the, depending on the room that they've walked in. So now when they're trying to, when you get too close to them and when you become too intimate with them, they are now scrambling because they have to keep it in check to try to remember, wait, which version did I give you? Who did I show up as here? And to try to sustain that gets overwhelming, because nobody can be incongruent. Nobody can be there, be inauthentic and be comfortable. Nobody can be inauthentic and sustain that for long periods of time, because if it's not your true nature, you're going to have to be fighting constantly to hold on to the facade. And if you are, and that's easy to do when it's at work. That's easy to do when it's people that you deal with on a short-term basis. But to do that with a partner, to do that with somebody who's intimately and intricately involved in your everyday life, in the decisions that you make, and observing the inconsistencies and calling those inconsistencies out, they're gonna run, because no, you can't figure me out. No, I can't sustain that. I can't be that person all the time. So they have to just disappear. They have to take care of themselves, and they find all the excuses, and they will literally just disappear on you and then show back up, because they've now reinvented the identity. They've now told themselves the lies that they need to tell. They've now gone through the process of perfecting the personality that they can come and do it for a little bit longer. But they can't sustain it, because again, it's not your true identity, because they don't have one. They're like just constantly moving from wall to wall, blending into whatever color is on the wall, just struggling to try to survive because they don't have any sense of self. And being on the other end of that, honey, baby, the mental gymnastics, the mind games, the utter confusion, by the time you recover from one thing, it's another thing. By the time you recover from one thing, it's another thing. So you're constantly left flabbergasted. And then when you finally take the step back and let go, you realize, what the heck was I doing? How did I stay in this so long? But you stay in it because you keep looking for that person that you were introduced to. You keep looking for that person that you fell in love with. And then because the situations are legitimate and the excuses are legitimate in the situation, you keep holding on. You keep holding on because somewhere in there is that person that you fell in love with. Baby, there's so many spirits that we're dealing with. There's so many, which is why the Bible makes so much reference to the nature of different animals when it's talking about certain things. Be safe out in these dating streets. That's all I'm saying. There's so much to navigate. Keep yourself covered. Be so solid in yourself first, so that when you come up against these things, you recognize them immediately and not have to go through the hell and mental trauma that I went through. I love you. Have a good day.